To hear more, listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelly.
An unprecedented time in American politics took another historic turn when President Biden bowed to extreme pressure from within his own party and exited the 2024 presidential race. He spoke to the nation a few days later.
Nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Even the day before he left the race, he insisted he was staying in. Fellow Democrats who'd been saying for years that he was still mentally sharp suddenly demanded that the defiant president stand aside. Top donors froze tens of millions of dollars in campaign contributions. All that has now changed as Democrats unite behind Vice President Harris as their new candidate for president. Michael, there are Democrats who say Biden's speech and his decision elevates him to the extremes of presidential greatness with the likes of George Washington.
Well, definitely inside the Democratic Party, he will go down as one of our best presidents. He's put together a remarkable record of progressive movement that we hadn't seen since the Roosevelt administration and the Great Depression. And so I think the accolades from a party perspective are spot on for Joe Biden. And I think history will be far kinder to Joe Biden than immediate assessments of his job, which I think most people put him as a good president. I think he ultimately will go down as a great president.
Should we be looking to make room on Mount Rushmore?
I think we're safe there. I mean, he got run out of town. I mean, you know, this is like Gunsmoke. Matt Dillon came in and said, "You got to leave here, buddy, or it's not going to end well." And that's exactly what happened. He got run out of the office. The Democrats were panicked, and they were rightfully so. And they did what they did. And Joe Biden, I think he left kicking and screaming, but he left.
More and more is coming to light about the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. More and more, it points to an inexplicable security failure at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Kimberly Cheadle resigned from her job as Secret Service director after her disastrous appearance at a congressional hearing over the past week. An assassin's bullet hit Mr. Trump in the ear, narrowly missing his head. Another shot killed a spectator sitting behind the former president. There's been no explanation for why the rooftop where the gunman was perched was left unsecured, or why Mr. Trump was allowed to take the stage after authorities had already identified the gunman as suspicious when he was roaming the grounds before the rally. Michael, there are also questions about the Biden administration's refusal to grant Secret Service protection to rival candidate Robert Kennedy Jr., whose uncle and father were assassinated. What's going on?
Well, I think she rightfully should have resigned, and if not resigned, should have been removed. We've got a serious security failure that happened here that needs to be investigated. We need to avoid all the conspiracy theories and whatever else may be out there. But I'm hopeful that we don't ever have to live through this again. This is the most important thing that the Secret Service is tasked with doing, is protecting our leaders. They kept President Trump safe that day. But I played golf earlier this week, and most of the par threes I played were longer than the distance this guy had to shoot. How it was left undone is unbelievable.
Does the buck stop with Cheadle? I mean, it doesn't seem like we have any answers. Does it go higher than that?
Well,
I mentioned RFK Jr.
Yeah, ultimately,
only after Trump got shot
ultimately
did he get
this was a staffing issue. They didn't have enough Secret Service agents to expand the perimeter out to where it should have been. The perimeter should have been beyond those roofs. And then you've got the security perimeter, you got the magnetometers. They didn't have the personnel to secure that large of an area outdoors. Challengers typically don't have the same level of security detail that incumbent presidents do. And in this case, historically significant in that the challenger is also a former president. And so, yes, this was a massive failure of the security, and it has given rise to all these conspiracy theories. And they need to get their act together quickly. And I think we may have seen the end of the outdoor rallies for the balance of this campaign season.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelly, our quote of the week is one that's coming back to haunt Republican VP nominee J.D. Vance. And the Cardinals' home run celebration becomes a political hot potato.